Being here, and thank you for having me. It's always a great occasion to be at TIA Summit, like in the last times, and I see a lot of interest on that. So I was very interested about what you were saying about Germany. It was really interesting to see an outside view of my own country, and we have that discussion culture, which is very exhausting sometimes, but at the end, it works out fine. It works out fine. So, ladies and gentlemen, the Indian-German relations, and that's what I want to talk about a little bit, are at an all-time high and being developed constantly. I just came back from Berlin, where we had our yearly conference of head of missions worldwide. India was not only one topic among many, but this time it was a central element of this conference, and I want to give you some examples for that. Firstly, the Indian Foreign Minister, Mr. Jaishankar, was our guest of honor. Next to my minister, and in front of all heads of missions and a big number of German entrepreneurs, he outlined in a remarkable speech the achievements India has already reached and the way ahead for your country. It is worthwhile to listen to that speech. You can see it on internet. And he made a real good case for India. He was like a salesman for India somehow. It was really great to hear. He described the powerful work of India by investing into modern infrastructure, a key element for further economic development. He made a case for more foreign direct investment in India. He also made clear that India has a role to play in geopolitics, and you were mentioning it before in the last round. And right he is. And very importantly, he emphasized the importance of putting an end to conflicts, like the attack of Russia on Ukraine and the conflict in Gaza, Lebanon, and Israel after the cruel attack of Hamas on October 7th in 2023. He made a point that by bolstering democracy, the multilateral international order, as well as to continue to join hands in our common goal of fighting climate change, we will eventually succeed. And then the following question and answer session showed the enormous interest of the people in the room on India and its relations with my home country, Germany. It was also obvious that both foreign ministers have high respect of each other and reiterated the need of close consultation. And that's also true for consultation behind closed doors for some of the trickier geopolitical questions, and my minister and him went behind closed doors after that session. Secondly, in the same conference, we had a plenary session with the German ambassadors to China and the German ambassador to India. They were sitting on the dais, and for the first time in the history of this conference, this outline had been deliberately chosen to signal that India belongs on the center stage of world economics and politics. And it was also interesting to see, as far as I interpreted this discussion, that my colleague from China, Mrs. Patricia Flohr, was much more in a defensive position than Ambassador Philip Ackermann from Delhi. He could really talk about what ambition India has, what is in for German companies in India, and what is in for Indian companies in Germany. So I think that is a very interesting change, because so far I have seen these conferences, it was always a big China conference, and now it's India and China on the dais. After these two sessions, the ambassador and us CGs were engaged in multiple discussions with business representatives, and they were eager to hear and know more on what India has to offer. And thirdly, to add to this, I want to draw your attention on the upcoming Indo-German government-to-government consultations. The German delegation, headed by Chancellor Olaf Scholz and comprising the majority of his cabinet ministers. This unique format allows that both countries have an exchange of views on the highest political level, engaging in common programs and streamlining their policies in all fields. And back to the consultations, we will in addition have the Asia-Pacific Conference of German Businesses. And it was very interesting to hear how India is also looking at the other players in the region, in the Asia-Pacific region. And this conference will take place in Delhi. This is the flagship event for business leaders, executives, and political representatives to discuss and promote economic relations between Germany and the Asia-Pacific region. Since 1986, the conference is being held biennially in various locations across the Asia-Pacific region. And this time, as a premiere, it is held in India. The APK is jointly organized by the Asia-Pacific Company of the German Businesses and the German Federal Ministry of Economic Affairs and Climate Action, and also the German Chambers of Commerce abroad. The conference is co-chaired by the APA chairman, the president and CEO of Siemens AG, Mr. Ronald Busch, and the vice chancellor and federal minister of Economic Affairs and Climate Action, Mr. Robert Habeck. And the conference objective is to provide a platform to deepen the dialogue on current economic developments in Europe and the Asia-Pacific region, as well as to build and strengthen personal and economic ties. And we will have the privilege to welcome the Indian Prime Minister Modi and Chancellor of the Federal Republic of Germany, Mr. Scholz, at the conference. I just want also to highlight something which was very interesting in the discussions you had, Jose, before. And I said just, you were also looking at the Asia-Pacific region because the South and the North are complementary to each other. But what I believe also, because I was ambassador to Zambia before I came here to Bangalore, is don't forget Africa, because Africa will come. And India has a very good foot into Africa. And I can also say to the German companies, if you take India as a hub for connecting to Africa, you will have the future in your hands. So I think Africa, we shouldn't forget on that particular platform. Ladies and gentlemen, I could go on with many more examples, like the more intensified cooperation with India in the field of maritime security. It was mentioned, for example, by the upcoming visit to Goa by a German Navy vessel, which actually drove to the Taiwanese Strait. And air defense, for example, by the recent Indo-Pacific deployment in South India. Defense technology cooperation is also an important new field, as it was discussed just before. This all aims to keep the region peaceful and safe. And we all know about the manifold challenges in this region. But I want to talk about a second topic where India and Germany are very much of mutual interest. And it's of utmost importance for Germany, and it's skilled migration. Guess which German foreign mission is the biggest in terms of issuing long-term visa for Indian citizens? It's Bangalore. Oh. And it's not only for Indian citizens, but it's worldwide. We are number one. And that is, I'm really proud of that my staff is really tackling that huge task. We issue probably about 30,000 long-term visa in 2024 in Bangalore, which is about half of all term long visa issued by Germany in India, ending up to about 60,000 in 2024. What is the reason for that, you might ask? I think our policies to attract Indian students, mainly masters and PhDs, has proven very successful. Germany has a non-profit orientated, vibrant, world-class science and university landscape. To learn German is not a stumbling block, as a lot can be done in English, and learning German is exponentially on the rise in India. At any given moment, we have nearly 50,000 Indian students in Germany, by far the biggest foreign student community in my country. Additionally, my government has changed the legal landscape completely. Germany, since June this year, has most liberal migration law for skilled people in the world. For young Indians with a good formation in all sectors, going to Germany has never been easier than today. So why do we do that? Germany has a demographic problem. Too many old people, like me, and many leaving the workforce in the next 5 to 6 years, like me, increasing the deficit of skilled labor. Hopefully I'm a skilled laborer. So, if we want to keep our wealth, our growth, we have to welcome about 400,000 skilled people each year for the next decade, 15 years, and India will be part of the solution. As India also has a demographic problem. India has too many young people, and for the foreseeable future, not jobs for all of them. So again, Germany, India, a perfect match. And the people who know me, I always say Germany and India is a perfect match. When you have German engineering and Indian ingenuity, they've got the best of two worlds. So again, a perfect match. The German, thank you for that. The German and the Indian governments are working closely together on central and on federal level to make things happen. On the state level, we have signed a migration and mobility agreement to ensure safe and fair migration. This is very important to us. On federal state levels, we have a multitude of programs, for example, Triple Win for nurses from Kerala, but also public and many private initiatives in close cooperation with Karnataka, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, and many more. So you will see more skilled migration from India to Germany, adding constantly to the already 200,000 strong Indian diaspora in Germany. As Germany allows family reunion and has extended that also to parents in view of Indian life realities, Germany seems to be very attractive for young Indians. Just a last interesting fact I would like to mention in the German workforce, about 14% have an academic background. If you only look at the 140,000 Indian strong workforce in Germany, the percentage of academics is at 35%. So India adds a lot of brain to my country, to Germany. Ladies and gentlemen, some final remarks from my side, because I can see time is running up. I got 9 seconds left. I could easily go on to talk intensively on the engagement and chances of German Mittelstand in India. We have already a broad base of companies in all sectors. I am confident that many more will follow. That is also true for the cooperation of startups. During the upcoming Bangalore Tech Summit, Mrs. Christmann, the envoy of the German government for startups, will be here in Bangalore together with many German incubators, accelerators, labs and startups to tap into the rich startup scene and environment in Bangalore and liaise with the private and public actors in this field. This week also there is an interesting initiative taking place here in Bangalore. In the framework of Urban Mobility Berlin-India partnership, startups from Bangalore and Berlin, facilitated by the IIM in Bangalore, will work on modern mobility solutions which will cater the needs of women in public transport. Once this workshop is over, I'm sure that great cooperative initiatives and ideas will be ventured and transferred into successful startups. Ladies and gentlemen, I really appreciate your interest for what I said. The German consul in Bangalore is always open for your questions and ideas. Thank you for your attention. Thank you, Joes, for having me today, and have a wonderful TIA Summit. Thank you.